Film Dive Podcast.
And then it was just sequel after sequel after sequel.
There was no character development at all.
Just that on pure technical levels.
There are filmmakers that don't want it just to be an entertainment experience.
Hello and welcome to Mid Academy Online Film Dive Podcast. And today we're going to be discussing Disney Animation.
Yeah. In our last couple of podcasts, we referred to Disney a couple of times during the development of Pixar. So we thought we better discuss the Disney side of things.
Yeah.
Really from sort of their like revamping or their reinventing of the Disney brand, the Disney Animation brand, which really started with Rapunzel, or what's also known as Tangled, depending on whereabouts in the world you are. Which really, this moment was marked by the purchasing of Pixar and the kind of merging of the two studios in terms of management, which really saw like a streamlining of the whole IP from Disney and Pixar.
From what I sort of saw at that time, it was kind of that crossover when Disney started to go, hang on, we actually should be that quality brand that Pixar has been holding on to and sort of setting that standard.
Yeah.
Disney used to be a high standard, and then they really dropped through the 90s or 80s, 90s. I mean, they had the hits Little Mermaid, Lion King, Aladdin and all that, but after that, it was a big decline, straight to DVD sequels. The Disney brand just became kind of tarnished or tainted, if you will, by releasing cheaper stuff and not holding on to a quality standard across the board. So I think this was kind of that rejuvenation phase where I think the heads kind of changed, and they had a whole new outlook of going, well, let's lift our game and sort of have a high standard.
Yeah. It was a strange sort of moment because really the way that Disney has run for many decades now is there's multiple channels where they'd create content. So first of all, you'd have Walt Disney Animation, which has always been their top tier. It was meant to be their top tier content that gets created. Then you've also got Disney Toon Studios, which was created as a straight to DVD sort of avenue, and they'd create stuff straight for TV and all that kind of stuff, which has always been lesser quality. But it really felt like there was a blending of the two studios in terms of the quality that they were creating, where Disney Toon Studios was almost...
just kind of bleeding across. Like films, say, like Hunchback of Notre Dame, you had... Even though Pocahontas looked really good, I still felt like the standard was dropping. Like all those films from then on, like... Atlantis was the other one.
They really tried to reinvent themselves. But didn't realise that it wasn't working and just kept going anywhere.
It's like one after another they had these films coming out and they just weren't really... They didn't have that appeal that the other ones did.
And this was a sad moment because at this stage in the Disney's evolution, this is when Hollywood decided not to do 2D animation anymore. They really... Their thoughts were... The audience have lost their appetite for 2D animation, and that's why we don't see any 2D animation films anymore, which is sad because there's always been, and I think there's always an avenue for good storytelling, no matter what the medium is. But the issue is we were having crap storytelling through those mediums.
I don't think kids would be too fazed by 2D animation as opposed to 3D animation or claymation. If it's good and engrossing and captivating, they're going to sit there and watch it. And then also at this time, we had like films like Titan AE, which was sort of blending 3D with 2D.
Yeah, that was what was that, Fox, I think?
Yeah, that was Fox. I'm not sure.
I remember that. I actually liked it when I was younger.
Yeah.
It was a cool sort of approach.
And I think Treasure Island kind of...
which Disney's answer to that.
To that, and and Disney was answering a lot to what was happening at the time. They were trying to mimic what was happening, and I don't know, trying to stay on top of it all, I suppose.
But I mean, if you look at films like they were bringing out Brother Bear, Home on the Range, which was very subpar sort of content in terms of what you'd expect from Disney.
Even Emperor's New Groove, which I really like. It seems such a small scale film when you compare it to, say, like Lion King or Aladdin or whatnot. They're classics. They just don't feel like classics. They just feel like later smaller projects.
When they decided to do the change to 3D animation, still the stuff they were creating, Chicken Little and Meet the Robinsons, again, they're more ones that they don't stick
Subpar.
with you. They're just...
I remember them coming out and I wasn't even interested in the visual style. They seemed very kiddie. Whereas Pixar were doing films that could be watched by adults and kids. They were very layered and had depth. Whereas these were just so shallow and only made for kids. So, you know, that's how I felt anyway.
Absolutely. When you think of what makes a classic, it is the ageless, it's the timeless factor in it, where you're not looking at selling it to just
an audience,
kids. Yeah, just an audience. It's creating a content that is for everyone, and that a 5-year-old could watch it, and then 20 years down the track, when they're 25, they can watch it. 50 years down the track, when they're old, they can still watch that film and get something out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the missing piece at this stage in the Disney.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to be consistent with. Like Pixar have struggled with it.
Yeah, well, we say
Everyone
Pixar.
struggles with
Pixar
it.
now is sort of, you know, almost getting to that stage where it's hit and miss.
Yeah, they'll have a couple flops or ones that are subpar, and then they'll get one that's not so subpar. And it's just kind of up and down, up and down.
And it is, like, we've got to give them credit. It's a very hard thing to say, I've got an idea for a film. This is the idea. It might be a good film. I hope it's a good film. Doesn't always come out that way, though, because there's so many stages you got to hit.
Yeah.
And you have to hit them right at the right time, at the right stage. And the other thing is, if you want an audience to be able to watch it and get something out of it and feel something out of it and relate to it, and films take 2 years, sometimes they can take 3, 4, 5 years to get created. Yeah. By that stage, that audience that you were aiming for have already moved on. Yeah. And that's the issue, because it takes so many years to make a film.
You almost have to be ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Before, you know.
And that's the ones that do really well and hit that right time at the
sweet spot.
That moment is the ones that have kind of been able to do that. Moving on though, we've got Princess and the Frog, which again, I think that was them trying to do the Disney fairy tale thing again.
So that was 3D, was it?
No, that was 2D, that one.
That was 2D. That was their last 2D, wasn't it?
That was their very last 2D they did. Again, it didn't do very well.
Didn't do very well. I admire the setting and the music, the down south, and I really admired what they were going for.
It was very edgy, very different. It was trying something new.
But I'd moved on by then. Like I was,
well, that's the same.
Yeah.
And then Bolt was the other one.
Miley Cyrus, which I haven't bothered with. Like, you know, once again, I looked at it and go, nah.
And then from that point is the merging of the two, synchronizing the two studios in a way almost, that they
a partnership
where they both have a very high standard in terms of visually, storytelling, all that kind of stuff.
But still without looking like Pixar, like they still have their sort of separate,
different, which is good. The other thing is, I think it's also a reflection on the studio management at the time with these ones that were coming out pre this stage. The management really didn't care that much. They were just like, we got to keep doing it because it's our legacy, so we'll keep doing it. But they were focusing on the big blockbusters more than anything.
Yeah.
But then you get all of the management from Pixar who do care.
Yeah.
Reshaping the whole system.
As long as they were making money, I think those guys at Disney were happy. You know, they're like, just make it work. You know, just do what you got to do, make it work.
And I think that's also a testament to Bob Iger as well, who'd just come in at this stage, the CEO of Disney at the time, who's now literally just stepped down a few months ago. Yeah,
but he's kind of really turned it into that quality studio again, where people expect quality content. So moving on from there, Tangled, which I haven't seen.
It was a good start. When I saw this, I said, okay, I can see a way forward for Disney now. Yeah, the visuals were great. Storytelling was pretty solid. Yeah, it was sort of arcing back to the old style
Disney,
where it's
princess stuff,
musicals, singing, all that kind of stuff. But there's also, it had a new edge to it, or more modern day references.
It had a little Shrekiness to it in my sort of, what I take away from it is had that kind of modern day humor.
It doesn't take itself too serious.
Yeah,
it's been a trend since where they've got these funny little moments that are like modern,
very
a bit more
relatable
modern.
to modern times.
This is when they decided to do short films again, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we've seen a lot of short films. Paperman, I don't know if you've seen that one.
No, I didn't really see any of these.
Yeah, they were all fun. But moving on to their next feature film, WreckIt Ralph. I really like this first WreckIt Ralph.
This is kind of like the stepping stones to things like getting back to Ready Player One as well.
It was playing on the nostalgia of us growing up with our computer games and stuff.
Yeah,
which is
the
cool.
whole gaming culture.
Where you were seeing references from all the way back at the the early years
like
of
say like I don't know, like the old Atari kind of stuff,
Pac-Man and all that kind of stuff, and then go all the way through. You'd see references to Sonic and all these other ones,
Nintendo, Sega,
and which was all fun, nostalgic for the music. Oh, that was great.
Yeah,
music.
Music's good.
It was really solid stuff.
Loved the use of the actors like John C. Reilly and the guy from 30 Rock, Jack McBrayer, who plays Felix.
Yeah.
Obviously Jane Lynch from Glee.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And that they had good voice talent in that film and good use of characters, I think.
Yeah, and it was a simple, pretty solid story. It wasn't too over the top. It was effectively most of it was set in that game, that racing game.
Yeah, that's right. I was like, okay, I can see this going somewhere now.
Yeah. Which it kind of seems like their new approach is like, we'll do one fairy tale and one more traditional, just not necessarily musical. It's just along the lines of what they were doing like Bolt and stuff, where they were non-musicals. But this, I think, was done very
quality edge to
better
it.
quality.
Yeah.
It just, you could see the detail in the animation, and this is the large jump in detail.
Yeah. Well, I think across the board, like they probably were bringing in better actors, like voice actors, and just across the board, they were spending more money and sort of getting more quality in there.
And then following this one, we have our the one that everyone can sing along to. Let it go, let it go.
Yeah,
Frozen.
Yeah,
the big giant phenomenon that was Frozen.
Yeah, which pushed me so far the other way because everyone was talking about it and raving about it and hearing the song everywhere. I was like, all right, I'm not going to get on board this one. I'm going to stay away.
Yeah.
And I did pretty well for a while, and I still haven't managed to watch the whole thing, but, I've seen most of it.
Yeah.
And I must say, like, it's not bad. I can't say it's bad.
Again,
by
it's
any measure.
It's solid storytelling. It was interesting because to play with the princess concept, but it's more about like a sister to sister relationship. It's not about the big handsome man and the princess and all that kind of stuff.
I've got it all in it, but it's not fundamentally
the
tropes of that. It sort of flips that a little bit.
It was good to play with a different kind of love, which is nice.
Yeah.
Again, we've got those sort of modern little takes in it, little modern quirks,
spins here and there.
But I think at this stage, this is when we really started seeing the detail and the quality of the animation. It was just really polished.
Yeah. This standard is almost echoing the standard of their hand-drawn animation of the old days, like how classy that looked.
Yeah.
This is sort of getting really classy CGI look, in my opinion. It was
Absolutely.
just like, wow.
Yeah.
The snow and the effects and stuff like that, the environments and whatnot. It's all looking really cool.
This is where we had Big Hero 6.
Oh, right, yeah. So this was kind of like the blending of Marvel and Disney because that was a comic that was, I think, a joint project by Marvel and Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2014 this was.
Yeah, right. This was another one kind of like WreckIt Ralph for me, where I was like, it's reminds me of a lot of stuff that's kind of coming out or has come out, but it sort of has its own sort of spin on it, and it's interesting because it's more rooted in Japanese culture. Yeah. This film, with the whole anime kind of vibe to it as well.
San Fran Tokyo, I think.
Yeah, that's right, because they're blending those.
Blending San Francisco and Tokyo together.
Yeah. So I really liked that kind of aesthetic.
If you go onto YouTube, you can see some really cool videos where they go through that whole city and they sort of, you can zoom in they had the, so you can zoom in to any, like, look in the windows of any of those buildings. The detail is really there. It's the whole city is built with detail.
Wow.
Solid. Really interesting.
Yeah. Great film. Great character.
Yeah, I really liked the film. It had more sort of like typical moments in it.
Yeah.
Where you got the guy that's a good guy, but it turns out to be the bad guy. Very 90s sort of elements. But it was kind of like a mix of like, you know, inspiration. So you kind of accept it.
Yeah.
Again, animation solid. Environment's great. Everything was great about it. I love the marketing campaign. Whenever you go to the cinemas, you'd see the big blow up.
Yeah. Is it
Baymax?
Yeah, Baymax. Yeah.
Which I always wanted. I was emailing all the different cinemas because I wanted one, and they all kept saying, "No, we're not allowed, not allowed." Oh, damn.
It's because like half the staff would be like trying to dibs them anyway.
Yeah, which would be so good. It was like this big giant, life-size blow up Baymax.
Yeah. Very cool design. Yeah, that's one of the like. Out of all like the sort of robot-y movies that have come out in recent times, I reckon that's probably up there as one of the
has to be like
better designs.
You could have given that to anyone else, and they would have made it as a
typical robot sort of thing.
And no, they went the opposite. They went and they actually did research on this. Was really interesting. They did research to come up with the concept, and part of their research was this idea of having something that it has like all of the mechanisms within a
balloon,
soft, a soft exterior, which is an interesting sort of play. Characters, really enjoyed the characters, enjoyed the style. It'll be cool to see. I'd really like to see more of this like mixing of cultures. Yeah, really cool play. Yeah, because you can really get the visuals just really interesting.
It's kind of like Coco, like Pixar's Coco.
Again, that was another wonderful mix. I'd like to see an Australian animation.
Rescuers Down Under. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah. I mean,
that's one reason I grew up on that film, and I just
me too. I think it flopped, but
it did massively.
But I think us in Australia really liked it. I remember watching it.
Yeah, I used to hire it all the time, and I think that was successful in VHS. Like it would have been, but you know.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. So thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, ring that bell.
And all that good stuff.
And all that stuff.
And all the goodies.
I'll see you later.
See you next time. Adios.